So if you've had a knee replacement or are considering one, you may have thought to yourself, will I still be able to strength train? Is it safe? Am I going to potentially damage the artificial knee joint? We're going to talk about this and much more in today's video. We'll cover, is strength training safe and is it effective for people who've had knee replacements? We'll even lay out a step-by-step plan for you in every phase of rehab to build knee strength. And then we'll answer some of the common questions that we get from patients about knee replacements. Now, here's the surprising part that most people don't understand. Even though a knee replacement will often increase mobility and decrease pain, most folks who have a total knee replacement never regain the strength that they had before their surgery, meaning they're often weaker for the rest of their lives. Muscle loss after knee replacement surgery is profound. In fact, 2 weeks after a knee replacement, studies show that you are 60% weaker in the involved quadricep. Now, some of that strength does come back over time, but even up to a year after surgery, research shows that the operative leg is often 20 to 40% weaker than the uninvolved side. When most people think about rehabbing from a total joint replacement, they imagine being bedbound for days or weeks and sitting on the couch watching Netflix while they slowly let things heal. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. Research shows that a lot earlier than you might think, progressive and heavy resistance training can be incredibly effective for building strength back and even getting you stronger than you were before the surgery. So what I want to walk you through is what I think is a very sensible step-by-step progression from day 0 all the way to 1 year of post-op knee strengthening. Phase 1 after a knee replacement is right after surgery up until about 2 weeks. In this phase, the goal is to protect the knee joint, to reduce swelling and inflammation, to get the quad active, and to start to improve mobility. This is where people typically start physical therapy and begin doing weight bearing as tolerated. I usually recommend more weight bearing than others because I think that loading the knee, loading the quadriceps, the glutes, the hamstrings is one of the most effective ways to expedite the recovery process. This is where I also like to use NMES or neuromuscular electrical stimulation to increase activation of the quadriceps. The quads, due to the swelling and insult to the knee joint after surgery, tend to turn off through a process called arthrogenic inhibition, and they can be reactivated or further activated with electrical stim. From an exercise standpoint, this is where you're doing things like isometric contractions, glute bridges, knee slides, and then really working on your mobility, getting into flexion, getting into extension, and trying to drive the knee back towards normal as quickly as possible. Now, phase 2, from 2 weeks to about 6 weeks, is where the fun really begins. So this is where we start to introduce some closed chain loading. So I begin doing a body weight squat with partial range of motion here. We'll do hip hinges, sometimes with light dumbbells, step ups to a small step, and begin working on balance for the involved side. As far as barbell training, we're typically not at a barbell training level between 2 and 6 weeks yet. If you are able to squat, I would be squatting down to maybe a 20 or an 18-inch box with maybe a PVC pipe behind the back. And then because of all the swelling in the joint, it tends to create agitation of the posterior chain, like the hamstrings and the calves. So deadlifting can be quite challenging, and I would recommend doing it very lightly, either with a PVC pipe or light dumbbells in this stage. Now, from an upper body exercise standpoint, anything that you can do safely can be done immediately after surgery. So if you have a spotter, you could totally do bench press weeks after surgery. You can do overhead press seated pretty quickly as well. And then slowly and steadily can progress to doing things standing. Now, everybody's healing journey is going to be different, and you may want to progress faster because you're feeling great, and you may need to progress a little bit slower because you're dealing with pain and inflammation. One of the key things I want to impress upon you is that regardless of where you're at, your knee is very stable and secure. Just listen to your body and don't necessarily go exclusively by the phases that I'm laying out, but rather by how you're feeling and how your body's responding. Now on to phase 3, which is the 6 to 12 weeks post-op. And this is where you can begin to add load with your squats and get into your deadlifts as well. So week 6, we're typically doing light goblet squats down to an 18-inch box. By week 8, we're starting to add a little bit more load and go to full range of motion or parallel. And by week 10 to 12, that's where we want to get back to our barbell back squat and actually achieving full depth. By week 8, you can begin to do an elevated kettlebell deadlift. And by week 10 to 12, you can start deadlifting with a barbell. Typically slightly elevated works better, and then slowly and steadily work your way down to the ground. If you want to know how to deadlift, check out our deadlift tutorial video here. Phase 4 is between 3 and 6 months post-op. This is where you're doing full barbell deadlifts, barbell back squats, all of your traditional strength training exercises, but probably at 50 to maybe 70% of your pre-op loads, and then really slowly and steadily progressively overloading with maybe 5 pounds per week as you work back up to what you were doing pre-op. And then finally, we have phase 5, where you're returning to full function and maybe even beyond. This is where you're progressing your barbell lifts back to pre-op levels or even further. You can start to add in intense functional activities like tennis or pickleball. You may want to add in other unique forms of training like sled pushing and pulling or plyometric work. Now, typically between phase 4 and 5 is where folks stop doing PT and begin to do their rehab on their own. And often they'll feel fairly close to normal by this point. They have full range of motion, they can walk and do all the things that they want to do in life, yet under the surface, there's still a significant weakness going on side to side that'll stay with them for the rest of their life if they don't do something about it. This is where we really love to meet people where they're at in our strength training program and take them back to or even beyond where they were before their surgery. The last thing I want to say about phase 5 is this. You really need to get back to at least what you were doing prior to surgery in terms of your activity level, your endurance, and your strength. If you don't, you're much more likely to deal with a lower level of capacity and strength for the rest of your life. Now, what do you do if you have pain with strength training after a knee replacement? And maybe you just had the knee replacement months ago, or maybe it was years or decades ago, and you're trying to get back into a routine. And maybe you haven't even had a knee replacement yet. This framework I'm about to lay out is still applicable to you. So in our group training program with our physical therapist, we have a 4-part framework that we walk people through that follows the acronym FIRE. The F is for form. The first thing we want to do is make sure your form is good on whatever exercise you're doing. Now, if you don't know how to assess your form yourself, find a qualified coach. That's what we do at Village, is we are obsessed with making sure that our clients have good form. Sometimes even small tweaks in knee position, in back position, or barbell position can take a movement from terribly painful to totally pain-free. Now, if your form is solid, we want to move to I, which is for intensity. Now, there's kind of 3 main levers we can pull in terms of intensity. We've got the weight, the reps, and the sets. Those 3 things combined create your total training load or volume. We will typically decrease the weight first for folks because it's something we can change right then in the moment, and that will still allow them to complete their sets and reps in their workout. Now, if somebody has pain after a workout, like it's a cumulative inflammation kind of pain and discomfort, that's where you might want to go after total volume via sets and reps coming down. Now, if your form is good and you've backed off your intensity and you're still having pain, you may want to play with range of motion. Take the squat, for example. If you're having knee pain with a full range of motion squat, you may want to try a partial range of motion squat. Same thing with a step up or a lunge. You can always decrease the amount of range of motion, allow your body to get used to the movement again, and then slowly increase the range over time. And then finally, E is for exercise. There's just exercises that for some people don't work. They cause pain, they cause inflammation, and they flare them up time and time again, even though they're doing them perfectly with relatively light weights and modified ranges of motion. I know for me, forward walking lunges tend to bother my knees, even if I do them with body weight. So I typically do reverse lunges if I'm going to do lunges, or squats because those don't bug my knees. There's no right exercise for you. There's only the right exercise for the right person at the right time for their goals. Now, one of the other questions I get pretty often is, can barbell strength training damage a total knee replacement? Can it cause it to become loose and fall apart? There was a study done that inspected the biomechanical loading of a deep squat on the tibiofemoral joint and found that it was about 2 to 2.5 times that of just normal body weight. These are loads that the implant is designed to withstand easily. Heck, even getting up from a chair can put 3x the amount of body weight on the knee joint. True mechanical failures of total knee replacements are quite rare. They're much more commonly linked with malalignment due to a bad surgery, with infections, or with trauma. Controlled barbell training, on the other hand, is much safer and more predictable. So in theory, yes, you can damage your knee joint from strength training, but the risk is incredibly low, and I think the benefit outweighs the potential risk. We've had many clients over the years with total knee replacements start strength training in our program, and we've yet to have any instances of the knee replacement becoming loose or damaged as a result of their strength training. So strength training is not only safe after a total knee replacement, it's also effective. It's one of the most powerful tools you have to regain your function, to get your life back, and make sure that your knee replacement is a positive thing for you living life on your own terms, as opposed to something that wrecks your independence and mobility. If you want more content just like this from Doctors of Physical Therapy, like this video, subscribe to our channel. We put out twice a month videos just like this where we educate and deep dive on strength training's impact in your life.